Well, in my first video, I explained why I launched the State of the LCMS Survey. We wanted to listen and to really understand what leaders across our synod are thinking and feeling. And over 1,000 of you responded, which gives us a clearer picture of the challenges we're facing alongside of the hope and the opportunities that are right now. So today I want to focus on one of the most pressing realities that the data revealed, the pastoral pipeline. When a list of the top challenges were presented, reaching and retaining the youth and young adults, which is what my last video was about, was the top challenge selected. But when leaders were given an opportunity to voice what the top challenge they're facing together, this topic of pastoral formation and its pipeline rose to the very top. Here's what a few voices of the LCMS said. One of them said, there's not enough pastors. The routes for current called workers need to be better. There's no reason a guy like me who's served 8 years as a DCE needs to go spend 4 more years in St. Louis to become a pastor when I learned better hands-on and through mentorship. And it's not helpful that some, even in leadership, believe that SMP or CCM pastors are a lower tier. Even though they may rarely say that out loud, that's the perception. And I've heard that out loud. Another wrote, the pastoral path with Concordia University's closing. And another wrote, I believe the most urgent challenge right now is having congregations being able to afford a pastor and making sure they have good health insurance coverage to take care of their families. And those were just a few voices among dozens, in fact, more than 100 that simply said things like pastoral formation, pastoral shortage. There's not enough routes to ordination. So needless to say, there's a lot at play here. So let's talk about it for a little bit. Let me start with a sobering fact that according to the Rocky Mountain District of our synod, that half of our synod's current active pastors are 55 years or older. So that means within the next decade to 15 years, a massive wave of retirements is coming. And we simply do not presently have enough incoming pastors to fill all of those gaps. According to Joe Barron's book, The Ends of the LCMS, pre-seminary enrollment today is down 50% from where it was not long ago. So we will not only experience a significant drop in the number of those already serving, but you combine that with a shrinking pool of future pastors that are being formed and ready to step into ministry. If you put these together, the challenge becomes crystal clear that within 15 years, our synod could shrink from around 6,000 pastors to just 3,000 if current trends continue and we do nothing different. And this isn't just theory, it's already playing out. Many congregations are sitting vacant for months or even years. A local church that I know went through 11 different calls before finally finding and getting their candidate, only to have them serve for 3 years, and they're back in that situation again. Others are served part-time or by retired clergy, filling in just to keep the doors open. Barron notes that in 2023, there are 457 congregations actively calling for a pastor, and 519 were being served by part-time pastors. And so here's the hard truth, that behind all of these numbers are real congregations, real families, and real communities that can't access stable pastoral care from the LCMS. And so the strain falls not only on those without a pastor, but also on the clergy that remain, with many juggling multiple congregations and being stretched thin. But this isn't just a story of concern. It's also a call. Can we wake up? Can we partner in the work of raising up leaders for the gospel? Can we think about this in new ways? Because it's not the first nor the last time the church has faced this issue. Even Jesus said in Matthew chapter 9, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore, pray earnestly to the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into the harvest. And that's where we find ourselves. The harvest is ready. The workers are few. Let's pray and let's act. And maybe, just maybe, God is using this moment to call every one of us into the work of noticing, encouraging, equipping. What opportunities lie right where you are? Maybe you know someone with gifts. Maybe you can support a young person who's wrestling with pastoral ministry. Maybe you can walk alongside a second career man, discerning whether now is the time. But here's the question I want to leave you with. What role can you play in raising up the next generation of pastors? Maybe it's mentoring, maybe it's having a conversation, maybe it's offering financial or prayer support for someone's seminary journey. If the challenge is this urgent, then the question then becomes, how do we form pastors for the future? And so what does the data tell us from more than 1,000 Lutheran leaders on this very topic? Are our current paths to ordination enough? Should there be more routes? Like, what ought pastoral formation look like in the years ahead? That's the next conversation we'll tackle together in next week's video. But for today, I hope you see that the pastoral pipeline, it is under real strain. And each of us has a part to play in responding, not just with worry, but with prayer and with action. Because behind every statistic is a congregation filled with God's children. And God's children, I believe, need LCMS pastors.